We're back on the Exit 52 podcast, presented as always by Jimmy's Famous Seafood. My name is Jake Louque. I'm joined by Barstool Arditti, my guy. Going to be a bit of a stripped back, pared down production today, as I was both locked into the game and locked into the United States Open Championship, which is currently in a rain delay. So honestly, it has met our schedule perfectly. That rain delay, because RDT's got himself a little softball later. I mean, I guess we'll see with the weather what's going on with that. But as of right now, that is still scheduled to go on. So we found a window here. Game actually still going on, as I had last seen. I think it actually just wrapped up play here.
Yep.
So the Orioles do win this one over the Los Angeles Angels 11-2, completing yet another sweep under Tony Mansolino. How about that, Eric?
It seems like they either lose a series or they sweep. There's really no in between now under Fun Uncle Tony. Is that what we can call him?
Sure, Funkle.
Yeah, we can call him Funkle Tony. But yeah, this was they won two close ones and a laugher. I mean, everybody and their mother, everyone and their father bitched and complained about the lineup today, being like, I saw the like me and my dad bought tickets and Adley and O'Hearn and Cowser and Jackson are sitting. It's like, and then they put up 11 runs. So the baseball gods rewarded those who went. And yeah, this was a fun series. The game on Friday was a wonky one. Again, I don't know how many people stayed up, saw it. And then, yeah, I mean, like I said, they clawed out another close one yesterday. And really, this was, I think I said it last week, but this was like a perfect 2023 game. It felt like they just hitting bombs and they're getting guys first to third. And I don't know. The Angels were playing well too coming in. I think they're still under 500, but they were playing well coming in. So, people will think like, oh, it's just the Angels, but no, they were playing well, and Joe Adell was as hot as they come, and the Orioles kind of just stomped them out. And it's like Alex said in the chat, baseball is fun again. It's been fun like this for maybe a month now. So I don't know what that lines up with or coincides with, but I mean, we can talk about it later too, but my God, is it awesome to have Jordan Westburg back. That guy I call him the glue guy. I'm doing the Miss Lippy gif every time he gets on base. That is, you want to talk about like, for seemed like 2.5 months, we're like, what is this team missing? What is going on? What is different? It's Jordan Westburg. That's what it is. I think we can just come out and say it. It's Jordan Westburg. So shout out the glue guy. He's back and a lot of fun to watch play. So good for him. It was a nice one for him on Father's Day to get that homer. Gary with a big weekend series too. El Gary, Yo Soy El Gary, the Kraken.
Yeah, Jordan Westburg, last 10 games. I forget exactly when he came back. So some of these are going back into April. So I guess this would be the last 6 or so. But overall, I mean, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think it was last Tuesday. So it was Tuesday, Wednesday. I don't think he played Thursday. I forget what game, but yeah, it's been probably 5 or 6 games, maybe 5.
He hadn't homered yet. So, I mean, these would be, as far as homers, I mean, 3 home runs since he's come back, 9 RBIs, 6 runs scored, 308. So just when he's been in the lineup in the last 10, again, that goes back. But I mean, 308 average. So he's hitting over 300. That's great to see. And yeah, he's just brought a total spark to this team, I think, which really needed it offensively. But I mean, the story of the series for me, and we'll certainly get pretty deep into this, is just offensive aggression. I mean, you were talking about it a little bit on Twitter. With under Mansolino, it's not only, which is funny because when Mansolino was the third base coach, I was maybe a little curious about some of his sends, but now you've got Buck Britton over there. The sending has seemed to work. It's been a little bit more aggressive, and that seems to have paid off for them. Swinging at first pitches, I don't have the stats in front of me, but they have been really bearing fruit for them. They're making a lot of hard contact, and it's paying off really well for them. And Gunnar Henderson playing a lot better. We're not quite seeing the power numbers, the home run numbers that I think we would have wanted quite yet, but he's still coming back from an injury. And yeah, he's looked awesome. Adley Rutschman, you mentioned that he got some rest, but he's been a little bit more resurgent lately. And so we didn't pop in. I think we were both a little Jeb Bush tired after the Detroit series there. And, the way that ended, I mean, they wound up getting a win out of that series. And like you said, they hung in there against Skubal. You mentioned Westburg. I mean, he blasted one out there. And I think his first at bat against Skubal that could have really set a different tone for that game. But they hung in there against them. They lost a series to one of the best teams in baseball. And then they turn around, and after, like I said, you lose that series, but you win one and you gut it out a little bit. then you turn around and you sweep a team that, like you said, they're playing better, but I think this is the team you're very capable of sweeping. And it just feels like the decks have reset a little bit. You mentioned 2023. I think back to 2024 when they go out there and they're at their best and they just absolutely shit pump an Angels team in that opening day situation where Corbin Burns was on the mound. Yeah, I mean, this is a team still not even at full strength injury wise, but pitching continues to be okay. Interesting approach today, sending out Scott Bluette out there to start this one, and then you put Povich in there with a man on second that who winds up scoring. So kind of a weird outing overall for Povich, who does get pulled for Sir Anthony Dominguez, who gets out of a total jam there with the bases loaded. So yeah, it's just, and that's not the first time. I think also in the series they had Aiken start a game, was that Detroit?
No, that was I believe that was Friday.
Yeah, so it just seems like they're
Morton was Friday. Morton was Friday. So yeah, it was one of the Tigers games. Yeah, yes, you're right.
Right, exactly. And so I guess the overall point being, it just, and again, we'll keep talking about this, but it just seems like Mansolino is just in total, just full send, like fuck it mode a little bit, like for, sorry, pardon my French there, but it just seems like whatever we need to do to get it done, however, whatever team baseball we're going to need to play, and just go out there and try to steal bases, more aggressive running the base paths, try to send guys home, swing at first pitches. It just seems like this team, despite their talent, and I know they had injuries and everything, but it just seemed like under Hyde, they were just gripping the steering wheel so tight and just and it reflected in their body language, it reflected in their play. Obviously this is going to be a tough hole to dig out of now, but don't look now. They're 10 games under 500, where that's a market improvement. There are a couple games over 500 in Mansolino's tenure, which is an improvement. So it's, like I said, it feels like this is what business as usual should have been if everything had broken, not even fully correctly, but even somewhat correctly for this team, and it's good to see.
Yeah, and I mean Joe Nathan Diddley, that's a great name. Says it right here. I haven't lost faith, but it doesn't take a prophet to understand they were hit hard by the injury bug. They still have guys coming back throughout the season. Yeah, I mean, Colton didn't play, I don't think, at all this series. I think it was a Tigers game when he got banged up.
Yes.
And yeah, again, Ryan O'Hearn gets dinged up on Friday night. So they're still missing some of their main guys, and that's we're not even talking about the pitching side yet, with hopefully Grayson, who I think they said is going to throw bullpens and or off the mound, and Bradish eventually and Wells eventually. But yeah, I mean, they're still missing guys, and they're slowly but surely getting them back. And you look at an impact like that Jordan Westburg has, and it's very easy to see that this is what the team was missing. And this is like you nailed it though. This is the team. Like today's performance, take away the names and Dylan Carlson and all that. But like, if somebody would have told you in March, like, hey, by the way, they're going to kill this Angels team on Father's Day, 11-2, you'd be like, oh, of course they are. Catcher's going to hit a grand slam. Gunner's going to have 2 hits. Like, you're going to be like, yeah,
the catcher.
Absolutely. Yeah, the catcher. It may you didn't know it's going to be Gary, but you would have been like, yeah, that's exactly what I expect them to do. So, and we've talked about it, but this is the team that we thought we were going to get. And even though, because like we've kind of harped on the last couple of weeks, they're not down 8-0 in the 3rd inning, and you're not getting, Brian Baker's not warming up in the 4th inning and stuff like this. Like, they are just playing competitive baseball. And even the games they lose, the game in Sacramento last week, that first one they lost, I think it was 5-4 or 6-4, something like that. That's just a game you lose. Like, that happens. It happens 80, 70, 60 times a year. Like, you can't play perfect. And some of these games, like, they're not beating themselves anymore. They're not playing bad baseball and dry humping the ball all around the field. They're just getting beaten. That happens. So it seems, I don't know, man. It's like every facet of the team seems to have improved since Mansolino took over. The bullpen, like we said, has been lights out. They have been awesome. Sir Anthony today, that sweeper on 3-2 was an absolute, you couldn't have placed that ball any better. Felix yesterday, man, that was awesome to see too. Like that 9th inning was, I'm like chewing my fingernails off, in the stands watching, and he's facing
marathon of a game. I mean, yeah, just total marathon of a game, and getting to him, that just felt like a total reprieve. Like you want to talk about weather delays. I mean, and I had a tweet this morning lamenting just the entire weather, situation in 2025. It's been brutal. And another day in the low 60s with rain. I mean, just tough to get through, but that kind of slowed things up yesterday as well. And it's been a slog to get through, man.
What are your top you said that it was like an all-time bad weather year. Can you give me like a top 5 weather years that you've had or
Top 5
experienced?
good, or I only remember the bad ones. I remember 2018 because, like, the bearing the lead here. I play a lot of golf, so like I track this stuff pretty well, and you probably do too with the baseball and the softball that you play. But it's like 2018 summer. I remember that being really bad. 2021 was pretty bad. That was like I remember being in Ocean City for Memorial Day, just total rain out, like
I think I
no
remember
let
that.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like me and a bunch of friends had like rented a house in Westo. We were all pumped up, and we just spent the entire time just indoor in bars and stuff. Which we had our fun, but it's just you remember that, and I don't know. This one is kind of giving me vibes of that a little bit. It's just it's unrelenting and it's tough, but we'll get through it.
Yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there. And then this is too. I had the tweet last night you mentioned, but the fastball, the first pitch fastball hunting and stuff. I talked about it because again, you saw it yesterday in Saturday's game. Jackson double on the first pitch off a lefty, fastball hunting. They just seem so much more aggressive, especially early
So
on.
I pulled it up. Apologies for cutting you off again. I pulled it up because you had tweeted about it yesterday. This was
And
before the game today. This is from our guy Zach at Pigtown Sports, who, by the way, I got to apologize. I just realized that I was not following him on my personal account. I was convinced that I had been this whole time. Just shot you the follow there, Zach. If you're listening, that's my bad there.
you're an ass.
But he tweeted, yeah, I really am. He quote tweeted you and said, very aggressive early. O's have swung at 149 of 284 first pitches in the month of June. 65 foul balls, 21 hits, 438 average for best in the league, 29 balls in play, 34 whiffs, second most home runs with 5.
There and again, it's like not even just first pitch fastball hunting. Like you're seeing them do the first to third thing. They're stealing a lot of bags now. Like the Adley advanced on a quote passed ball yesterday. The ball was right underneath the catcher. Like he should not have gone. And I don't know what they're preaching or what they're telling these guys, but they are super super aggressive now. And I think that feeds into them. Like you want to see Gunnar with his tongue hanging out, like pumping his chest, going first to third. I like this doesn't have anything to do with being aggressive, but I love Kobe Mayo yesterday getting a hit and turning into the dugout and sticking his tongue out at him. Like they seem to have that swagger and that like like this is what we're doing now. Like we're lacing balls all over the field and we're having fun now. And I think the aggressiveness leads into that. I think they're just having fun playing baseball now. I mean, how many times did we talk about Gunnar hanging his head early on? Walking away and just kind of like, oh, woe is me, the Michael Bluth, this full head down thing. And now it's completely opposite. So it's been awesome to watch them. They're talking about him in the chat too, but Gary, like I said, with the grand slam, he comes back and all he's done is hit 2 home runs back-to-back days. And we've had to talk about this guy for a couple years. Ramon is just an absolute beast. He is. And I think it was Jordan who had he talked about him on Friday night because he had the home on Friday night too. And he said, he was like, we don't get the last couple of years, like we don't win 101 and 91 games without Ramon. Like you just don't. And he's like, any team would love to have a guy like him on this team. And you can see why. I mean, he makes a great play today. He's a Gold Glover. He's his power comes and goes. And right now it's coming. He has 2 home runs the last 3 games. He's awesome. Anytime they need a big hit, he comes through. So I'm very happy for him and excited that again, he's playing well and he carried them in, I think it was August last year, but it's always nice when Gunnar gets it going and Adley and Jackson, but those little guys, the Dylan Carlsons, the Gary Sanchez, the Ramon Urias, like those guys, anything they can chip in is awesome. And Ramon does it more times than not. So they don't win the series without both Ramones and Gary Sanchez, and then, obviously Cedric for good measure yesterday. But it's always nice when you get the production from those, I don't want to say the little guys, but those kind of side pieces.
You have a term for other teams that applies to guys like this that maybe are at the bottom of the order, that would maybe be a little mean when talking about your own team, because we're not going to call these guys bums.
Bottom of the order bums. That one?
Yeah,
no?
these guys are not BOTBs. These guys are real ball players. Yeah. So
yes.
Ramon last 10 games hitting for 273, 9 hits, 2 homers, 5 RBIs, 7 runs scored in his last 10 games. So it's about a home run per week, and obviously driving guys in. The glove, I mean, it's easy to just forget about defense, especially with a guy like that who, again, toward the bottom of the lineup, he's not going to be starting all the time for you, especially with a healthy Westburg. But I mean, it just continues to be really solid. And I don't know, man, you're right. He's just another one of these guys that it would have been nice to have more guys like this throughout the stretch when you were just getting nothing from Adley and Gunnar was hurt. And it just felt like you mentioned the mojo being off at the top of the lineup. But I think like part of what goes into that, and obviously I don't necessarily have the stats in front of me, but just total vibes eye test thing, it feels like when you're vibing at the top of the lineup and you have that mojo going, then that it's, you know, it's like your guy Reagan, the trickle down economics. You love trickle down economics. It trickles down from the top of the order down to the bottom of the order. So I don't know. I feel like it when Adley and Gunnar are going, and obviously we didn't see Adley today, and he's been kind of on a little bit more of a pitch count, so to speak. But when these guys are playing to the level that they have been, I feel like that it's the engine of the team. It's the head and the heart, right? It's kind of, you know, both pistons pumping and kind of getting the entire car running. So I don't know. I credit those guys, and obviously Westburg is just a huge shot in the arm. I mean, if those guys are those things, I feel like he would be sort of the beating heart and soul of this team. So it's great to see him back, and I really hope this continues, because I mean, don't look now. What are they, like 6.5, 6 games out of the wild card right now? It's going to take a lot. It's going to take a lot to break right. You're going to need some help, but this was really all you could have asked for, like last month or a month and a half ago.
Yeah, and I mean, we talked about it, and I remember I talked to Brett Hollander about this a lot. This was like really early on, and obviously we didn't really know how the next couple of weeks would go, but he just kept saying like, just really wait until not they get like one guy back, or, you know, not just Westburg or just Kaiser. He was just like, wait till everyone comes back. And he said like, it may be a little late, you know, and you're going to be in a hole, but he's like, once they get everyone back, like the collective group, like that's going to be the team that we thought we were going to see. And he was spot on with that. And I mean, you're absolutely right. It's, you know, if the top of the order is hitting, you pass that baton right behind you, and it just keeps getting passed. And that's how it goes. And it seems like, you know, when one guy's hitting, then, you know, everyone kind of starts to hit there. So it's as awesome as that has been too. I mean, the pitching, we could talk about Charlie Morton on Friday night too. And I mean, I had the premature tweet 2 batters in saying, after I think he walked a guy and he gave up a hit. And I said, I've seen all I need to see about from Charlie Morton. So I did get a DM from our friend Andy Koska, and it was the please apologize to Charlie Morton meme. And I was like, I'll wear that one. I said it.
What I'd say to that is, well, first of all, that might go into, we'll file that one away with the Gedman Morrow boys. I feel like the Uncle Charlie, maybe he's earned himself a little bit of benefit of the doubt. I don't know, but I told you it might be time to put that one away. But yeah, Charlie, 5 innings pitched, 5 hits, 1 walk, 10 strikeouts, which, you know, season high. I mean, that's huge. And I also tweeted that weather delay with Charlie. I mean, it just felt like you had the gif of the roller coaster. This is the Morton coaster. That's what a Charlie Morton start feels like. You were absolutely right. And when you're getting to that point in the game where he had thrown X amount of pitches, I think he was getting kind of close to his limit. It's felt like he's had a couple starts this season where if he just leaves like 1 or 2 or 3 pitches before he does, he's walking off to a standing ovation. And it's not quite standing ovation territory when you're only going 5, but you have that delay and he comes out. It's kind of like putting the governor on like an engine or something that can get out of control or can short circuit on you. You put the governor on Charlie. You take him out just a little bit early rather than a little too late. I feel like you're setting yourself up well. So when it feels like, it's kind of like selling a stock at its highest point. Like you get Charlie up to its highest point, then you pull him a little too early as opposed to too late. That's a good way to go about it.
I know you follow. What's your girl's name? Pelosi. You just do anything she does with her stocks. But no,
that's actually not a joke. That's not a joke. Check out Autopilot for a good Pelosi tracker. They've got all sorts of good stuff. Dan Crankshaw, Warren Buffett. Yeah. I'm up. I sold recently, but I was up pretty decently on that.
There we go. All right. Well, I just got totally thrown off.
You thought you had me there, but that's unironically, I have done that before. So
we'll give Tony Reales giving you the point right there. I get muted. No, yeah, I mean you're right. They do the Patriots thing. They get rid of them. You know, maybe get rid of them a batter too early than a batter too late. Like it'll change a lot. But I mean, yeah, it was good to see him, you know, kind of get that outing under control, and that kind of set the tone. I mean, 2-0 win on Apple TV, which was awful. Wayne Randazzo, an awful broadcaster. It was funny. I texted my dad, or I was watching with my dad, and I said I had switched it to the home broadcast, because on Apple TV you can do that, the home radio broadcast. And after one of the things, he goes, "These guys don't even try and hide like their homerism." And I go, "This is Jeff Arnold and Ben Wagner." And he's like, "Oh," he goes, like, I thought this was the regular like broadcast." He's like, "They're going nuts over Charlie Morton strikeouts." Like, he was very confused.
Reminds me of that reminds me, that's funny that like you would mention that as a dad thing, because I remember vividly the Nova UNC national championship like 10 years ago. Me and my buddies were like living in a college house together at the time. And for some reason we had put on like a Bleacher Report feed, but we just had no idea. And like the guy was like, when the color analyst was like, freaking out over like Ryan Arcidiacono and calling him Archie and being like, "Come on, Cats." And then like they win. He's like, "Well, I'm going to go find a bar somewhere. This is going to be great." We're like, "Who the fuck are these guys?" And they were like, "Oh, wait, we were on the Villanova Bleacher Report feed. We weren't even watching like the actual broadcast." So
that'll do it. Yeah,
it can happen to anyone.
It can. So, but no, again, that was a great game to start out with, 2-0 win, and then yesterday's win. Sagano struggled the last two games. That's been talked about a little bit. I'll say this too: it was like a swamp at Camden Yards yesterday. It was hot. It was humid. It was sticky. It was nasty. So
I asked you about the smoke factor. The smoke factor.
I didn't know what you were talking about at first. I thought you were talking about like good-looking girls, and I was like, I don't. Are we calling them, like, I'm 36. I don't know if we can call them smokes anymore.
Well, okay. Well, who do you blog for, first of all?
Well, so driving in, I said to Joe, we're on 95, and I was like, what is going? Like, I looking into the city, I was like, it looks gross. Like you could see the smoke, and I was like, what is going on? And then I guess it was in New Jersey or Canada or something. There's wildfires somewhere.
Both. Yeah, so it's Canada and then the Pine Barrens in New Jersey. Great, famous Sopranos episode takes place in the Pine Barrens.
Is that the Woods episode?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
He was an interior decorator. His house looked like shit.
Yeah. But I'll say, once we got into the city, I didn't notice anything once we were in the ballpark. But it felt like you were wearing like a blanket of just like humidity. It was awful. So I don't know if he, and I think it was Sacramento was the last game that he started. And I think it's just hot, sticky, nasty out there too. So I don't know if he has an issue with and again, I mean, what did he go? I think he was like 4 1/3 or 4 2/3. I think he gave up 3 runs.
He was
struck out.
Yeah, he was 4 2/3, 6 hits, 3 earned runs, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts. So yeah, not his best the last couple starts.
Yeah, not his best. I mean, far from like, oh my God, what is this guy doing? Like, he wasn't great, but he was fine. Like, again, he left it. I think it was tied 3-3. And then the bullpen just did the rest of it. Sir Anthony was awesome.
And that was with, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think that was with an early home run given up.
Trout,
two-run shot. So yeah, exactly. Yeah, Trout. That was what a moment for you to be able to witness that. My only regret is that Taylor wasn't there, so you two could just take it in that cathedral of baseball. What a moment that would have been.
It was cool. It was cool. He walked the first guy. I remember that. He walked Zach Neto, and then I think they got an out, and then Trout hit the home run off the foul pole. But yeah, that was cool to see. And I was like, that was really cool to see. And now I hope they win 12-2 or whatever, But like I said, he didn't have his best stuff, but he kept them in the game. Like, again, we've seen the Dean Kramer starts or the Morton starts where if he doesn't have his best stuff, they're losing that game. Like Sagano, it didn't happen with him. So, and he talked to his post game comments are always so funny. And he's like, I was really upset with how I pitched today, but I am very thankful for the guys in the bullpen who had my back and who were able to get the rest of the outs for me. And it's just like, you feel like, I think he's like legitimately like upset when he's like, I was bad today. Like that was not great, but which you want to see that out of a pitcher. But again, if I had my full setup going, I would share screen with the Kith Snoopy shirt that he was wearing. Yes. I mean, he was, if nothing else, he was absolutely throwing some fire with the fit game. So an absolute fit. He was getting it off. But yeah, and then again, like I said, the rest of the bullpen, Aiken gave up the home run. Dominguez was nasty. Kittredge gave up his home run. Brian Baker, my guy, shout out. He got my buddy Ryan a ball, and he gave Joe a ball. He came over and chatted in the second inning in the bullpen. Always a pleasure seeing Mr. Baker.
I think you got to set me and him up together. We got to settle this, who looks more like who situation, because he's a big RDT guy. Obviously,
we can do that. We'll set something up.
get him on the pod maybe.
Yeah, that would be cool. Like I could send some emails out. Trying to think. Yeah, it was everything just is slowly seeming, like I said, coming together. The guy like yesterday hitting with runners in scoring position, 2 for 8. Okay, not the greatest. They also had 2 home runs, and then today. And the biggest thing is they won back-to-back games versus lefties. I think they just showed on here they hadn't won back-to-back games versus lefties since I think it was May 4th and 5th of last year in Cincinnati. So they're slowly getting it together against lefties. Yesterday was by far their best game against a lefty starter. You had Gunnar with the hits. Jackson had the hit. Mullins had the left-on-left home run. Like, that's the stuff that you're like, okay, something is kind of changing now, and this is going to be good. Today, 4 for 7, runners in scoring position. They left 3 guys on. So anytime you have 12 hits and you only leave 3 guys on, like that you're scoring a lot of runs there. So that was awesome to see.
I've given Mayo some guff for his approach at the plate. Really good to see him coming on, and it's good. I didn't want them to just like send him down or like run out of patience with him. I'm glad that like they're kind of just letting him ride this out and hopefully find it. Great to see him launch one out there today, close to his first homer, but he drives I think 1 or 2 in there, so that was awesome. And then obviously the multi-hit game there the other day. So yeah, good to see him kind of slowly start to come on here and looking good at first base. I think too. It's a comfy spot for him.
Yeah, he and Mansolino had some good stuff. He said like yesterday, he was like, I'm willing to bet that's the first time Kobe has played. I think he said defense in a 1-run game in the big leagues. Like, and he said he was like, listen, like he made a play in the 9th inning where he had to come up on the ball and like scoop it up. And Mansolino was like, that's not an easy play. Again, to us, we sit there and look at it and we're like, oh, that's an easy play. And he said, he's like, ask Bill Buckner if that's an easy play. Like he was like, he's taking all these steps, and he had a catch today right along the on the tarp, and he kind of went up and like had to go back for it. So yeah, he's looking much, much better. I thought he was going to get that home run today. I said yesterday, I was like, it feels like a Mayo day, and he notches his first two hit game. So
there's a little bit of wish casting coming from you and our guy Freddie and a couple other people on O's Twitter. Today's the day. Mayo's going to hit a home run. Just keep putting it out there. Hopefully it'll manifest soon. And like you said, like Alex is saying down here, it's turning into double power at the very least. Just got to take that next step.
Yeah. Like I'm with you though. Every at bat looks so much better. He's not. We talked about him, I think, early on, either in spring or maybe when the season started, when he was first up, and we were talking, and we've talked in the group chat, Spen especially, about like how everything seemed like so disconnected in his swing, and he was very like always moving, and I don't know, he just whatever the reset happened. Whatever it was in Norfolk seems to have helped, and I'm sure it's also playing time. Like he's playing with Mountcastle out pretty much every day, and he's going to play first. And with O'Hearn being out too now the last 2 days, so he knew he was going to be in there. But I love to see that again. I think he's gonna, especially if he's down in like 7, 8, 9, one of those areas. Like that's a big time bat that you can get down there in the bottom of the inning. So. I'm with you though. I've loved everything that I've seen out of him the last couple days, the last 2 days, especially this weekend. 3 hits the last 2 days, first double yesterday too, or not first double. But again, he's slowly coming along, and again, it's just a matter of time before hopefully we see that power start to come and more consistent, balls dropping and hits. So.
Yeah, I know Heston has had his struggles recently, and he's obviously sent down and everything, but he just feels like a guy, and I think Heston to an extent as well, where it's like, man, it's a rough stretch getting them going, but they just feel like guys that if you sent them elsewhere, they'd figure it out and you would regret it. Like, Heston obviously was the pedigree being a second overall pick, and then Kobe obviously was a high school pick out of the 3rd round with all the tools. So, man, in a season like this where you're going to have to fight and scrap just to even make the playoffs. Like this just feels like a good opportunity for those guys to, you're not playing meaningless baseball. It's relatively meaningful, but even that's a good spot to be in where it's like, hey, yeah, we're going to rely on you. And if you guys can string something together here, along with some of the other options that we have coming back from injury, you're putting yourself in a good spot to maybe put some good play together, get some confidence going into next season where maybe you could turn yourself into an everyday starter. Maybe in Kobe's case, you could make the roster coming out of spring training. It's a kind of a slow grind. Not all these guys are going to come in and, produce right out of the bat. That actually feels like it's been the rule more than it has been the exception for a lot of these Orioles prospects. And that's just kind of the way that it should be looked at, I think, writ large. So.
Mm-hmm. No, you're right. And again, it's almost, I mean, these are kind of playoff games for them. Like you said, these are big games for these guys. They have to win a lot of games in the next, 90 games or whatever's left. So they are getting thrust, and you made a great point. Like, they're getting thrust into a position right now where it's like, hey, we need you. Not like, hey, come on up, come get your feet wet, and let's, they're like, hey, guess what? We have 2 first basemen who were hurt. You're gonna play. Like, you're gonna start. You're gonna play against Tarek Skubal. You're gonna face these guys. Like, go on in there and perform. That's what we need from you. So it's again, I think it is a confidence thing where they know, like, hey, I'm going to be in there every day, and let's go see what we're made of. So I do like how he's playing. Again, you look at the numbers and you're like, oh, nothing special, but especially the second half or the second time that he's been up, I think it's night and day difference, and he just calm, cool, collected, like under control, all that stuff. So you do like to see that from a young kid who has already gone through a lot of adversity, in his first. He's probably played 30 games, maybe 25 games. Like, he's had a lot of adversity in that already. So it's nice to see him start to produce and drive that ball a little bit in the ballpark.
Yeah, absolutely. Nice home run from Ryan O'Hearn in the first game of the series. That was good to see. And then had a little bit of time off since then. So yeah, it just feels like, I don't know, like, I know the criticism of the punt lineups today and all that kind of stuff, but it just feels like kind of a healthy mix. It doesn't feel, maybe this is kind of just another eye test meatball take, but it doesn't feel as kind of robotic, like this guy, that guy. And I think what really goes into that, it doesn't feel to me as dependent on, oh, it's a lefty, well, we're going to sit this guy. Oh, it's a righty, we're going to it feels a little bit more kind of feel based, a little bit more kind of vibing it out, old school baseball man type stuff. Under Mansolino, who really doesn't have anything to lose. I don't think he's going to be getting a ton of head manager offers this, coming off season. So yeah, it's good to see him sort of make the most of the opportunity by, again, like, I'll keep coming back to it. It just feels like he knows what position he's in. He knows what they have to do, and he's just kind of sending it and trusting his gut. And I feel like that's allowing guys from the plate and in the field to trust their gut as well.
Yeah, no, yeah. Again, it's the guys know where they're going to be, where they're going to be hitting, where they're going to be playing, and it's not that, like, I'm coming to the ballpark seeing, like, or am I in today, am I out, or whatever. And again, that seems to be paying off for them. And again, yeah. I mean, it is going to change. You're probably going to see, obviously, less of Carlson, I would assume, when Cowser is back. And we got to talk to him yesterday for a little bit, him and O'Hearn, when they were working out in right field. Cowser came over and talked to Joe and I said, I go, how you feeling? And he was like, I'm sore. And I was like, I bet you are. And he goes, I go, you didn't even look at the wall. And he goes, I have one speed. Like, I have one speed, and I went. And I was like, you did. You
it was
almost
a little
through.
bit of you know what it was? I think he saw what Denzel Clark did against the Orioles, and he's like, I'd love to do something like that. And it's like, well,
he didn't even jump. He just
yeah.
It was,
well,
yeah.
Clark did the same thing too. He had another catch. Yeah, because Clark made the jumping catch not against the Orioles, and he made the catch where he just full steam ahead, just wily coyoted into the wall and actually made the catch. So
yeah, but that wall moves a little bit. That's like a chain link fence on like a little swinging thing, and that wall in Camden is concrete. So, but yeah, I would assume that he's back for Tampa. It's Tampa. Is it a 4-game series? I think.
Let's take a look. I have it pulled up right
thought that
here.
It was a 4-game series. 1, 2,
oh,
3.
Google, you stupid. It's 4 games.
Four-game series. And the good thing is, Orioles are facing all righties, for all 4 righties, and the ball flies down there. So again, I'm expecting a lineup like a Jackson, and Adley, Gunnar, O'Hearn, Cowser. They're going to load it up with lefties and see where they can go from there. And he just said it here. Yeah, Tampa's playing well. They're on like an incredible hot streak right now. I don't know what it is. If it's like 21 of 24 or something like that, they're playing very, very well. So you got to hope that they can kind of break that streak and go from there. But this is going to be a tough one, and then they hit the New York right after. So seems like, I don't know when their next day off is. I would assume maybe next Monday. But this is where it's going to be like, oh shit, now you're playing outside in Florida. It's going to be hot. I know it's going to be 90 here all this week. So I don't know what it's going to be like in Tampa, but big time. It's a big time series for them. And I was talking to a buddy yesterday. I used to like really like the balanced schedule. And I was like, oh, this makes sense. Not playing the Rays until June 16th sucks. Like this is weird. I like the idea of it more than I like how it's played out. Like, I'm checking the scores yesterday, And I look up and I see Rays playing the Mets, and I'm like, nobody gives a shit about Rays Mets. Like, this isn't, like this feels gross. Like, I don't know. The interleague thing is over to me. Like, that's not. It used to be like, oh my god, the Reds are coming in. We can see Ellie De La Cruz. That's awesome. And now it's like, yeah, I don't. It doesn't matter to me. Like, we get to see Judge. We get to see, the Red Sox guys and Vladdy. I don't care about, when the Diamondbacks come into town. It's like, oh, let's go.
As long as you balance it correctly, I'm okay with it. But yeah, you're right. Like, when you get to middle of June and you haven't seen somebody in your division yet, that's just very weird. Looking right now, if I'm reading this right, the next day off is going to be June 26th, which is 10 days from now. So in between then, you've got Rays, Yankees, Rangers.
Wow. Wait. So they go. So it's tomorrow, 16th. So yeah, they play 4 against the Rays, 3 in New York, and then they come home for the Rangers.
Yes, and then it's going to be Rays again. Rays in Baltimore for that weekend.
Ooh.
Ryan's bachelor party weekend.
We will be in Philly for that one. Yeah, that's that's a tough schedule for them. So maybe I wouldn't hate a rain out maybe in Tampa coming up, just to kind of let the guys. Again, this is where it rain 90s and rain. I feel like that's just Florida though. Like that's just how they go from like February to December, I guess. I don't know.
That's in the budget. Yeah.
Yeah. But again, especially with the way the bullpen is and not a lot of options, it would be nice. I guess they could always DFA Blewett again and try and move people around, but they're going to need, they're going to need all hands on deck, and they have been. So like the bullpen has been fantastic. So just, if anyone starts chirping like, oh, the bullpen sucks, they don't suck. They're very, very good. Felix is hitting 100 for the first time all year. So Cano's looking better. Sir Anthony's been nasty. And Soto was a dog on, what game was that we were talking about? Was that a Tigers game?
I think it was.
Maybe.
He pitched against the Angels on the Friday game. He went 1 inning, allowed 1 hit.
Okay. He did also when Joe and I were hanging out at the dugout yesterday. Gunnar did a Make-A-Wish thing with a kid and his family, and Soto came out and hung out with the family and the kids. So that was nice to see. That was cool.
Yeah, I think Jackson did as well, and I think
we must have missed Jackson doing it, but we went to get ice cream. Yeah. We went to get Dippin' Dots.
I'm surprised Jackson wasn't in line for the Dippin' Dots.
Could have been. He could have been in there. I don't know. Best bullpen in MLB since June 1st. I know. I just saw a tweet too. I don't know who said it. But they were talking about, I think, inherited runner stranded. I think they said the Orioles were either first or second. I don't know if it was all year. Again, I was listening, but not fully listening. But again, they've just been locking people down. So if you can get the starting pitching to again come around and iron itself out to go along with the way that they've played the last couple of weeks, the offense, it could be a very fun and interesting summer. We very well could be looking back and at the end of September and say the Orioles missed the playoffs by 3 games or something and being like, man, that's just they have no one to blame but themselves. But if this switched about a month ago when we were like, oh, I'm gonna have a whole summer for free, and we're not gonna have to do anything. It doesn't matter. We're not gonna be invested.
Evo's gonna be laying out on the concrete on Lake Michigan,
concrete beach,
taking it in summer.
It's probably a minute after every game when the game ends, and he just goes 5.5 games back, 6 games back, 7.5 back or whatever, and he keeps me up to date on that. So yeah, he's tuned in and. It could be a very fun summer if the guys keep hitting, and we'll see what we can do with this thing. Like I said, it very well may have been too much to dig out of, and like I said, they have no one to blame but themselves. But we'll see. Let's see what they have to offer. So
what, man, it's not World Series or bust, but playoffs are still in play. Expectations are low, but you can still kind of do something. It's not the worst spot to be in. It's maybe going to be kind of like our 2022 summer, where you're kind of chasing it, and maybe they don't quite get there, but fun to watch and hopefully building towards something.
Where are we on the turning the corner conversation? A couple weeks ago, we said our turn signal's not on yet. You can see it, like it's up there. The corner's up there. The turn signal's not on yet. Where are you at right now?
I think what they're doing is they're kind of doing they're checking
trying to get over.
Yeah. Check the rear, you check the overhead, then you check the rear view, and then you look if you can get over. But no turn signal yet. They're still sussing things out a little bit.
So you're seeing the corner now. You can see it, and you're saying, I got to get over. I got to get over.
Yeah.
I got to get over
Well,
now.
I think what it is like, it's not even like the corner. It's a little bit of a windy road. So like, you know that you're going to have to like, you're going to have to make a turn onto like York Road or Shawan Road or something. And you're kind of like, you're thinking about it. You're like, okay, I know it's coming up. Like, can I, yeah, exactly. So it's out there. You know, it's out there. It's not quite in view yet, but you're making preparations to see the corner, and you're trying to set yourself up in a good position to make that turn eventually when it comes into view, which it is not yet.
Okay. I like that. I'm with you there. We're not ready to talk to like fully back. We're doing this. 3 sweeps in the last 6 series is nice though. I think I tweeted after the Tiger series, like you got to start putting together some series wins and getting those under your belt. And somebody even said, it may have been Alex. I don't know if it was Alex who tweeted me back, but they were like, we were 2 pitches away from winning that series too. And, versus Detroit. I mean, they, Kramer gave up the home run, 2 home runs, but the 1 3-run to Torque. And then I forget who went up. I forget the other game.
Might have been Carpenter.
Maybe, yeah, I forget.
Actually, no, I think he had a poor series by his standards, if I remember right.
They were just like, they played well. It was a couple bad pitches and that was it. So again, it's rounding into form and things are slowly getting ironed out and the watchable banner has some holes in it. It's a little weathered and tethered. It's because it's been up for a while. They've been watchable for a while and now they're just kind of back to sweeping some teams that they should. And like we said, you got to win the series that you should, and you sweep the series that you absolutely should too. When you play the White Sox, you have to sweep them. Like that's what good teams do. And the Orioles are kind of rounding into form and playing like we thought they would, and making baseball fun again. So.
And yeah, exactly. Speaking of fun, speaking of not having the hangdog expression, love this tweet from Matt Wyrick on the 14th, 7 p.m., standing outside the Orioles clubhouse waiting for Tony Mansolino, and several loud cheers can be heard through the wall. 2 wins in a row, and the vibes are up. And also confirmation the smoke machines and the strobe lights were back in the clubhouse too. Cedric was saying they had a couple of them going, I think something like that. So yeah, man, they're having fun, and it's just we'll say it ad nauseum, but if nothing else, that is really good to see, and feels like when that happens, good things come behind it.
Mm-hmm. And again, I was wondering about that too, because I saw Matt's tweet about that, and I was like, I wonder why they had like, it's not like it was like a walk-off, or it was like, oh, the guys are going crazy. I wonder if it was for Gary, like, oh, Gary's back, hit the big home run, like, or Felix maybe, I don't know, but I don't, hey, I'm not going to gatekeep them celebrating and having fun. So yeah, I like to see that too, and like we talked about, everything is taking a complete 180 from striking out and like hanging your head and walking back and just going back to the dugout to do your thing. They're not going through the motions anymore. They're not, Did you see the video today of Adley and Jackson that the Orioles tweeted?
Did actually.
Like that's.
Yeah, I tweeted that picture out for the going live shortly tweet.
Oh, did you? I missed that.
I got a little screen grab of that. So
yeah, that and then like where was it? I posted it. The picture of Adley like staring at Felix yesterday, like that. I mean, that was a great picture. Like that's again. This one. Wait, where is it?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, it's backwards, but you get it. Yeah, it's just it's I don't know, it's back, baby. It's this is much better. Alex, trade deadline is going to be interesting the way they've been playing. It is going to be interesting. I think they could still sell a couple guys. I think they could buy some guys too. I think this isn't going to be like, oh, we're selling this guy and this guy and this guy and this. I think they're going to still look to improve the team. It's absolutely what they should do. So
and that's the rant that I went on, I think the last time we recorded, or maybe a time before that. Like, this is kind of a good time to just say, like, okay, like, we're not going to win the World Series this year. We all know that. But, like, what is it going to do psychologically to these guys if we just have a fire sale and we just get rid of Eflin and get rid of Sugano and, offload O'Hearn for probably not a great return for what you're getting for him and what contextually what you could re-sign him for? I don't know. I just feel like that would do more harm than good to the long-term prospects of these guys and sort of their psychological well-being, not just this season, but going into next and going into what you're trying to build. Like, it just feels like that would do, like I said, when I was pretty fired up about it, I don't know, man. I just feel like it would do more harm than good. And if you find a really good move that would really help you out long-term, okay, I'll listen to it. But it just feels like not everything has to be this spreadsheetification. Oh, return on investment and all these Wall
Controllable
Street
years. That's the big
right,
one. Controllable
like
years.
this exactly controllable years. Like this isn't fucking Wall Street. Like Sig, we're not sitting at the blackjack table right now. Like that's not a joke. That's literally where he gets a lot of these principles. He was a big blackjack player. Like he sees he tries to look at it mathematically all the time. Like these guys are human beings, and a lot of them are several seasons into their career right now. They want to be contending for World Series, and they have at certain points. But you would have hoped that this year would be one of them, and they're not going to, and that's unfortunate. But like if you let them just ride out a little bit of this adversity and you show some faith in them, and like I said, if you find the exact right move, you go ahead and make it. But other than that, I'm all in with just letting these guys ride this thing out a little bit. Let the decks remain as they are, and then re-sign an Eflin, re-sign an O'Hearn, and be aggressive at the winter meetings and try to make up for some of the mistakes that you made this past offseason. I think that would go a long way.
No, absolutely. I think. Yeah, I think again, I sell off one or two guys. I not that I'm like you got to do it. I would understand it, but this is still a time to make your team better. Like you can improve the team this year and going forward. They're like I would absolutely fully be in favor of them still going out and again making moves and shoring up some of these holes, getting another middle of the order bat. Specifically a righty bat with the way that O'Neill's injury is. Who knows? And then again, with Mountcastle being out for another probably 6 weeks, 7 weeks, something like that. Westburg is hitting, but you still need these right-handed bats to get going. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. And if it was up to Sig, then there wouldn't be a guy with controllable years traded. Sig was furious apparently about the Burns trade, which is funny because Joey Ortiz is hitting under 200, and DL Hall, as much as I love DL's been good lately. He's been good, but again, he's had injury issues. So it's controllable years aren't everything. It doesn't mean much, So it's going to be. I don't, and like you said too. It's not going to be a full on fire sale. Like, hey, come, we got everybody laying out on a blanket. Come pick whichever one you want. Like maybe one or two guys, but if it doesn't if it doesn't improve them, the team, don't make the trade. So
it's literally like Major League. Like they assemble a team to go out there and lose as many games as possible, and kind of as a fuck you to that ownership group in that movie. And obviously it's a silly movie, and I get why it's like not a perfect comparison to make, but if this approach is just going to be all or nothing, controllable years, spreadsheets and value and all this kind of stuff that makes my head spin a little bit as a person that just tunes into this team, several hours a week and just watches what plays out and just wants to be entertained. That's not the kind of stuff that keeps me coming back. Like having these good players and locking them up for the long term. You know what gives a good player controllable years is when you re-sign them. And guess what? There's no salary cap. And guess what? You have one of the richest people in the world who just bought the team and is evidently, I'm believing this report that they're given the green light to spend and they didn't quite want to do it. Now's the time, man. Like I feel like you got your answer, and you've maybe learned your lesson a little bit after not being nearly aggressive enough. And as Spenny, I think, very eloquently put it, just waiting for that exact perfect right move. Like I said with Hyde, just gripping the steering wheel super tight. It's time to let it loose a little bit. Let your nuts hang a little bit, Mike Elias, and maybe send Sig back to the nerd cave, which that is not. I'm not being mean. That is literally what they called it in Houston, was the nerd cave, which is where Sig worked out of. Maybe put some of that stuff away a little bit and try to build this thing a little more organically.
Yeah, I'm with you. And it's funny because the Mabry sighting, apparently that was not like an Elias, like, hey, we're going to bring him in. That was like somebody else being like, hey, he's coming in. He's going to work with us. He's part of this now. So I don't know if that is, again, an ownership thing, being like, let's bring in someone to kind of, someone out of the not out of the ordinary, but like, somebody new, and let's get some new blood in here, and let's get fresh eyes and all that. So that was an interesting
credit to the numbers guys who very well could have said no to that. They said, hey, you know what, you want to do that? Okay. Like that's a good sign, a step in the right direction, more of that.
Yeah. And again, they've been awesome ever since he came in. So that's a big one. But here's another fun tweet from Matt Wayrich. The best team bullpen ERA in the month of June, the Cubs at 1.07. Number 2 is the Orioles at 1.35. The Orioles' 5.04 reliever ERA on May 31st was 5th worst in baseball. They're the best in the American League since. So, we're getting back to that. Get a lead early and let the bullpen, have your starter go 5, 6, and then let Kittredge, Cano, Baker, Bautista, Sir Anthony, Soto. Let them go however you want to work it out, and we'll go from there. So that's a great thing to see. You'll see that in baseball. Like it's like if your bullpen is lights out, you're usually a good team, and like you're winning close games, and you're doing stuff like that. So anytime you can look up and your bullpen ERA is top 5, top 10, top whatever, like you're usually in a pretty good spot. You don't see many teams in baseball, make the playoffs with like the 28th best bullpen and shit like that. So it's nice to see them. Nice to see them all, clicking at the same time and getting the recognition for it too. So,
100%. All right. Anything else before we close this one out?
Go out and vote. Go vote for the All-Star team. I vote for Tyler O'Neill 5 times a day at least. Go out and vote for
that is sick, depraved behavior.
Well, no, I vote for all the Orioles. Like I tweeted out my thing and someone was like, "Oh, that guy sucks. You deserve." I'm like, I don't care. I want to see my guys there. I want to see my guys get recognized. Like I vote for Mountie. I vote for Adley. I vote for Gunnar. Somebody's like, Gunnar didn't deserve it. I was like, I don't give a shit if he deserves it or not. I'm voting for him. My ballot. All right. I stood in line, but yeah, go out. Like get Ryan O'Hearn there. Get Jackson Holliday there. That would be really cool. Like I want Brian Baker there. I know we don't have a say in that, but I want Brian Baker there. I want these guys in there. That'd be cool.
Well, happy to see that. Yeah, absolutely. Get in line, stay in line, vote for these guys. I'm with you. Yeah, Alex Haney, worth noting, hardball. Low-key kind of a sissy the way he flinched on that foul ball. Yeah, that was a tough look, and interesting to see Jim Harbaugh in the midst of a press conference walking off, and then he doubles back and he's like, "That's a can of corn. Come on, John." I'm with him on that.
I will say this. It's not interesting that he did that. That thing was burned. That thought was burning a hole through his brain for probably 48 hours after that.
But he almost forgot. Yeah, but he almost forgot, and then he doubles back, and he has to make it known.
And all right, so another question. I sent this question in like 5 group texts. I didn't get one answer back, so I don't know if that says more about me. Did he throw out the first pitch that night that he was there with Cal Harbaugh?
I don't know, but I don't think so. I feel like I would have seen that.
Yeah. So he's just wearing a jersey with his own last name on it to the game?
Do you have a problem with that, Mr. I'll wear any jersey anytime, anywhere?
I didn't say any jersey. Wearing your own jersey with your last name on it to a game, sitting front row, that's a try-hard behavior. That's a big like, hey, mommy, look at me.
Well, I'm assuming that he was Cal's guest and Cal's team got him that. So it seems like you're kind of dumping on Cal on this.
I think he probably got that jersey when he threw out a first pitch before. Because him and Hyde had their whole thing, and Hyde had the football helmet on or something like that. That's what I'm taking it as. I'm taking it as he already had that jersey. He made the conscious decision to put that jersey on.
Well, yeah, it's like when your aunt gets you a sweater and you don't really like it very much, but she's coming over for Thanksgiving dinner and you got to wear the sweater. Like, I'm sorry, it's get a helmet. All right, life's tough.
I have jerseys with my last name on it. I'm not wearing them to the game.
Yeah, I'm sure you have many. I'm sure you have a full closet of them.
I've got a couple. I'm not wearing them. Wear an Orioles t-shirt,
Interesting. Now you're drawing lines in the sand. Now it's not okay to wear a jersey.
I just think that is a very John Harbaugh move to wear his own jersey with his last name on it when he didn't throw out the first pitch or anything. He wasn't being honored. He wasn't being.
By the way, unconfirmed that he didn't. I said I don't know. You clearly don't know either.
You would have seen a video. You would have seen something.
I'm gonna look this up.
I'm willing to bet that he did not throw out that first pitch.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not saying he did. I'm just trying to trust but verify.
It's just a very Jim Harbaugh move. There's a couple other NFL head coaches who are not making that move. Specifically ones who have tried to fight him in the past. Just saying.
Who?
You think Mike Vrabel is wearing a Red Sox jersey with his last name on it?
When did Mike Vrabel try to fight him?
The COVID year. Remember when the Titans did the thing at midfield that they did every single game and somehow the Ravens got mad at it?
They didn't try to fight.
Yeah, well, that was going to be. They wanted to throw down. They were face to face, not face to face, but they were protected by masks first.
Yeah, well, maybe one day Mike Vrabel will win a Super Bowl and he'll be able to be on his level. Then maybe they can meet in the ring, meet in the octagon.
Cool. Well, he has a couple rings. He's got a couple.
Yeah, sure. Not as a head coach.
A couple touchdown catches too. It's all right.
Okay.
We were almost.
Well, my AirPods are running low here, so if that's all.
What's up with the weather delay? Are we getting back? Are we finishing today?
It looks like I would hope so. It looks like we got some shots from the range here. They're still showing the 2008 U.S. Open with the Tiger win, but man, hopefully we can get this thing in today. I pray for Spenny, who has had quite a weekend, and he was down in Queenstown. Now he's up in Pittsburgh taking that action in. So I do hope they can get it in today. But in the meantime,
2008 was that the Rocco year?
Yeah.
Apparently he's like my mom's like fifth cousin or something like that. Like so, it's like one of those like super random like weird things.
But yeah, you've told this story before, yeah. So I'll take in some of that, and then hopefully take in the rest of that, and then we'll be back later this week to recap some more Orioles action. Thanks for everyone who hung in here with us on this one after a very fun sweep of the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, the Southern California Angels. If you liked what you heard, subscribe to us here on YouTube. Find us on social media at Exit52 Podcast on X and on Instagram. I am at Jake Louque. That's Louque. Eric at EDITTI22. Brian at Barstool Banks. Spenny at Ravens 4 Dummies. That is the number 4. And Taylor at Taylor Smythe 10. We'll catch you guys later. And in the meantime, have a good week.
Bye-bye.
Arrivederci.